extraordinary. And I believe this situation would have been much, much worse were it not for the outstanding local leadership that we have, and I want to thank them. Our function now is to come up with a coordinated plan for the region, one that coordinates the assets and the best resources of the federal government, state government, and the local governments, New York City, and the county governments, to make sure we are all being deployed as effectively as possible. And that's part of the function of today, to come up with a real reconstruction and recovery plan, long-term plan that coordinates all the assets. Particular thanks to our partners in the federal government, President Obama, starting with President Obama, who has been on top of this situation. He's been very informed. I've spoken to him several times myself. He wants to know what New York needs. He's been all over it. FEMA has been fantastic and responsive. As someone who was formerly in the federal government and worked in these types of situations, I have total respect for the job that FEMA is doing, and I want to thank them very much, as well as the Army Corps of Engineers. As you all know, one of the major problems still is the water in the tunnels. The water has receded, so when you drive around, it looks like most of the water is gone, but the water filled the subway tunnels in many places, filled the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel, and when the water fills the tunnels, that means Con Edison has issues because much of Con Ed's equipment is in the tunnels. So getting the water out of the tunnels is probably one of the main orders of business right now, and the Army Corps of Engineers is very helpful in doing that. Let me give you two updates. First, a transportation update. As you know, the New York City buses are at full service today. Thank you, Mr. Joe Loda, and your extraordinary team. There will be limited commuter rail service on Metro North and on the Long Island Railroad, which will begin 2 p.m. today, okay? Limited commuter rail service on Metro North and the LIRR will begin 2 p.m. today, and limited New York City subway service supplemented by a bus bridge, which Joe Loda can give you more details on, from Brooklyn to Manhattan, will begin tomorrow. One more time, limited New York City subway service supplemented by a bus bridge from Brooklyn to Manhattan will begin tomorrow. There will be no service in Manhattan below 34th Street because there's no power for that service below 34th Street. 3 of the 7 East River tunnels have been pumped and are now free of water, so that's good news. There will be more service literally on a day-by-day basis as the MTA is working through this. And once again, I've had the good fortune of working closely with the MTA team, and Joe Loda and his team really have done magnificent service, and we thank them all very much. New Yorkers have been great all through this. We're going to need some patience and some tolerance. Traffic is very difficult for 2 reasons. We still have some passings that are closed. Midtown Tunnel is still closed, etc. So there's a high volume of traffic in the city itself. Many of the traffic lights are still out, so there's a certain amount of confusion at the intersections. In terms of power restoration, we are working very hard. That is going to be a situation that is also going to be developing on a day-to-day basis. Con Ed has been giving updates. The Westchester companies on Long Island, where we have probably the greatest challenge from a power point of view, we have the New York State Power Authority that is deploying upstate utility workers to the downstate area to help out Manhattan, the Island, and Westchester. And as of now, we have 1,800 utility workers who will be coming into the downstate area as we speak, primarily from upstate New York, coming to help their neighbors in downstate New York. So we applaud NYPA, and we thank those utility workers very much. But that is going to be still a day-by-day situation until we know how much power will be restored when. So patience and tolerance on the traffic conditions and on the power restoration conditions. I can assure you everyone is doing everything they can. They're all working very, very hard. But these are significant challenges that we're facing and problems in many cases that we've never experienced before or not in a generation. So patience and tolerance would be appreciated.